Hey everyone, and welcome to the Water Whiz quiz. Think you know a lot about water? Well, we're about to find out. Here's the deal. I'm going to ask a question, you'll get 5 seconds to think up your best answer, and then bam, we'll show you the correct one. Simple, right? So are you ready to make a splash? Let's dive in. All right, first up is round 1, finding water. This is all about where we get our water from in the first place. So get those brain gears turning. Here's your first question. Can you name 2 natural sources of flowing water that people use? You've got 5 seconds. Go.
And the answers are rivers, streams, or even springs. Hey, if you got any 2 of those, you are off to a fantastic start. Awesome job. Okay, let's keep the ball rolling. Question number 2. What is the difference between a well and a borehole? Think about it. So, what's the scoop? Well, a well is pretty shallow, right? It's the kind of thing where you might drop a bucket down to get water. But a borehole, whoa, that's a whole different story. It goes way deeper into the ground, so deep that you need powerful pumps to bring the water all the way up. So the big difference is really about how deep they go. Got it? Cool. On to question 3. What do you call that big man-made wall they build across a river to hold back and store water?
It's a dam. That's right, a dam. Like the huge Gariup Dam, for example. If you got that one, give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing great. All right, next up, question 4. What brings water to places that are far away from rivers, taps, or wells?
And the answer is water trucks. Yep, these big trucks are super important for carrying water to communities that really need it. And just like that, you finished round 1. How are you doing so far? I bet you're crushing it. Okay, moving on to round 2, making water safe. It's not enough to just find water, right? We have to make sure it's clean enough to drink. So, first question of the round, number 5. What is the main, number 1 job of a water treatment plant? Your 5 seconds start now.
You got it. Its whole purpose is to make our water clean and safe for us to use. It's an absolutely crucial step in getting water to our homes. So, how do they do it? That leads to question 6. What special chemical is added to the water to kill all the nasty germs and bacteria?
That would be chlorine. It's like a superhero for water, zapping all those bad germs so they can't hurt us. All right, great job. Question 7. So, after the water is all clean and sparkly, where does it hang out before it gets pumped to our houses?
It's stored in a reservoir or a storage dam. You can kind of think of them as giant waiting rooms for clean water, just before it makes the final journey through the pipes to your tap. Okay, let's switch it up a little. This one should be easy for you. Question 8. Can you name 2 reasons why people even need water in the first place?
Oh man, where do we even start? The most important ones are, we literally need it to stay alive, we need it to grow the food we eat, and we need it to stay healthy and clean. If you said any 2 of those, you are absolutely right. Okay, let's think a bit deeper for question 9. What is a really big water problem that people face in many rural areas?
Yeah, this is a really serious issue. A huge problem is that people often struggle just to get water easily. And even if they can get it, they might not have a way to clean it to make it safe. So that brings us to our last question for this round, question 10. Can you name 2 ways that governments or other groups help people get the water they need?
Luckily, there are people working on this. Some of the big things they do are building more boreholes and wells, giving out big water tanks for storage, and putting in public taps so everyone in the community can get water. And with that, round 2 is done. You're halfway through the quiz.
All right, time for round 3, saving every drop. This round is all about what we can do to help. So, question 11 is something you can think about every single day. Name 2 ways you can save water while you're brushing your teeth or washing up.
Here are 2 super easy ones. You can turn off the tap while you're scrubbing your teeth. You don't need it running. And you can try taking quicker showers instead of long baths. See? Simple things that make a big difference. Okay, what about reusing water? Let's see. Question 12. Can you think of 2 ways to reuse water at home?
How about these clever ideas? You can use the water left over from boiling vegetables to water your plants. It's full of good stuff for them. Or you could set up a tank to collect rainwater and use that for the garden. Super smart. All right, next question, number 13. Why is storing water so important?
Well, it's really important so that we have a backup supply for those really dry times, during a drought. It also lets us capture all that wonderful rainwater when it falls so we can use it later. Makes sense, right? Okay, last question for round 3. Question 14. Name 3 things people use to store water.
Wow, people use all kinds of things. It could be something small, like buckets, pots, and jugs at home. Or it could be bigger, like those large water tanks or drums. And then you have the really, really big stuff, like dams and underground reservoirs for a whole city. Fantastic! You are just zooming through this quiz.
Okay, here we go, our final round. Round 4 is all about pollution problems. This stuff is super important to understand. Let's get right into it with question 15. What exactly is sewage?
Yup, it's pretty much what you think it is. Sewage is all that dirty water that comes from our toilets, our sinks, and our drains. So now that we know what it is, question 16. Can you name 2 ways that both our homes and farms can end up polluting water?
Okay, so from our homes, things like soaps and cleaning chemicals can get washed down the drain and into the water system. And from farms, chemicals like pesticides and fertilizers can get washed off the fields by rain and end up in rivers. That's why we have sewage treatment plants. Which leads to question 17. Name 2 ways that sewage is cleaned up at one of those plants.
They have some pretty cool tricks. First, they often use things like sand filters to strain out all the solid bits. And then, guess what's back? They use chemicals like chlorine again to kill off any germs that are left. After all that, the water is clean enough to flow safely back into rivers or the sea. So, that brings us to a really big picture question. Number 19. Why is it so important for us to protect our water and use it wisely?
This is maybe the most important answer of the whole quiz. It's because pollution doesn't just harm plants and animals, it can make people really sick. And on top of that, we have to make sure there's enough clean water for everyone, not just for us today, but for people in the future too. Okay, are you ready? Here it comes, the final question of the Water Whiz quiz. Question 20. What is the biggest water problem we see when tons of people live together in big cities?
This is a huge challenge. When you have so many people packed into one place, it's really hard to find enough clean water for everybody. And to make it even trickier, a lot of the nearby rivers and water sources are already polluted. It's a tough problem to solve.
And that's it. You've completed the quiz. You did an absolutely incredible job. I hereby declare you an official Water Whiz. Seriously, thanks so much for playing. I'll leave you with one last thing to think about. What is one new thing you can do this week to save water at home? Give it some thought. Great job today, and we'll see you next time.